Victoria Adeyemi came into this world with a kind of beauty nobody could explain. The night she was born in a private hospital in Lagos, something impossible happened. Anyone who looked fully into Victoria's face collapsed instantly. Doctors, nurses, even visitors, one after the other, like a chain reaction. The only people who survived were her parents because they refused to look with fear. They looked with love and quickly covered her face. From that day, her parents understood that Victoria carried a strange curse. They had to protect her from the world and protect the world from her. They moved quietly, kept their home private, and avoided visitors. Victoria grew up in Surulere, Lagos, inside the walls of their small but comfortable flat. No play outside, no friends, no neighbors' children coming to knock. Her mother became her teacher. Victoria was smart, very smart, the kind of child who learned fast, solved maths like it was nothing, and read books far above her age. But even with her sharp brain, she was lonely. Sometimes she would sit with her books and still feel empty because knowledge could not replace friendship. One day, as a teenager, she asked her mother if she would ever live like other people. Her mother held her hand and told her the truth. One day, yes, but they must be careful, very careful. When Victoria turned 18, her parents knew they couldn't keep hiding her forever. They enrolled her in the University of Lagos, but there was one strict rule. Her face must remain covered at all times. So every morning, Victoria wrapped her face tightly with a cloth. Only her eyes showed. She wasn't hiding because she was ashamed. She was hiding because she didn't want anybody to die. At school, Victoria quickly became known for one thing: brilliance. She topped exams, finished assignments before others started, and even lecturers praised her work. But as her name rose for intelligence, rumors rose about her face covering. Students whispered in groups. Some said she had scars. Some said she was deformed. Some even said she was cursed. And then there was Bella. Bella was the loudest girl on campus, a fine girl with a sharp mouth, the type that loved attention and enjoyed embarrassing people. The first day Bella truly noticed Victoria, she marched up to her in front of other students and asked loudly why she always covered her face. Bella laughed and called her ugly, asking if she was hiding something terrible under that cloth. Victoria stayed calm. She told Bella gently that she didn't want to see her real face. She warned her to leave it, but Bella took the warning as weakness. She kept pushing, day after day, enjoying the laughter of the crowd. She would block Victoria's path, insult her, and challenge her to remove the cloth. One afternoon, Bella blocked her again and said today was the day. She demanded Victoria remove the cover and prove she wasn't ugly. Victoria looked at her and warned her softly. She said if she showed her face, it would not end well. But Bella rolled her eyes and insisted that Victoria was just scared. Victoria was tired of insults, tired of whispers, tired of being treated like she was nothing. She stepped closer and told Bella the truth in one clear line. She said she wasn't hiding because she was ugly. She was hiding to protect them. The crowd went quiet for a moment, but Bella still refused to believe it. She mocked Victoria again, calling her a coward. So Victoria turned away and refused to give her the satisfaction. Days passed and the bullying continued. Students whispered more. Some were now saying maybe Victoria was cursed. And in the middle of all this, there was a popular boy named Joshua. Joshua was handsome, confident, and every girl admired him. He enjoyed attention and never took anything too serious. Bella decided to use Joshua for her next wicked plan. During lunch, she approached him and sat close, speaking like they were best friends. She told him she wanted to expose Victoria. She asked Joshua to pretend to befriend her, gain her trust, then take off her face cover while she was asleep and snap a picture of her real face. Joshua hesitated. Even he knew it sounded wrong, but Bella was not the kind of girl you easily said no to. She pressured him, and Joshua agreed, thinking it was just a harmless prank. So Joshua began getting close to Victoria. He sat near her in lectures, smiled at her, and acted friendly. At first, Victoria was suspicious. She was used to people mocking her or avoiding her, not being kind. But Joshua kept coming, kept talking, kept acting like he cared. Slowly, Victoria began to open up. He walked with her after class and brought her small snacks, a biscuit, juice, and little things. For the first time in her life, Victoria felt like someone truly wanted to know her. One evening, Joshua suggested they study together in her hostel room. He told her she was too smart and he needed her help. Victoria hesitated but agreed, because deep down she was happy. She even made tea for him when he arrived. Joshua smiled, but inside his pocket was a small packet Bella had given him. As Victoria turned her back to grab a book, Joshua poured the powder into her tea quickly and handed it to her as if nothing happened. Victoria drank, smiling behind her cloth. They talked for a while, and then her eyelids became heavy. She yawned and said she was getting sleepy. Joshua pretended to be concerned and told her to rest. Victoria lay down with the hope that she had finally found a true friend. Minutes later, she fell asleep. Joshua waited until he was sure she wouldn't wake up. His hands shook as he walked toward her bed. Guilt was already eating him, but Bella's instruction was screaming in his head. He began untying the cloth slowly, knot by knot. When the cloth finally fell away, Joshua froze. Victoria was not ugly. She was beyond beautiful. Not normal beauty. Not the kind you see and move on. Her beauty was unexplainable, almost spiritual, almost magical, but it carried a force that felt too heavy for the human body to hold. Joshua tried to breathe. His chest tightened. His vision blurred. His legs gave way. He gasped for air but couldn't get it. Within seconds, Joshua collapsed on the floor, lifeless. A few minutes later, Victoria woke up feeling groggy. The first thing she noticed was her face cover on the floor. Her heart sank. She looked around and saw Joshua lying on the ground with wide open eyes. Victoria scrambled to him, calling his name, shaking him, begging him to wake up, but he didn't move. Panic entered her entire body, and then the truth hit her. Joshua had seen her face, and now he was dead. Victoria cried loudly, blaming herself, even though she had warned him. The noise drew attention. A student opened the door, saw Joshua's body, and screamed. Soon, security came, and the police arrived. The officers found Victoria sitting beside Joshua's body, with her face covered again. They demanded to know what happened. Victoria's voice trembled as she told them the truth. She said he saw her face. That was all it took. She said she didn't mean to hurt him. She said she warned everyone, but nobody believed her. The police didn't know what to think. Some had heard the rumors but dismissed them. After interviewing her parents and connecting the hospital story with what happened, they concluded it wasn't murder. It was something strange, something spiritual, something beyond normal understanding. Victoria was released that night. At home, her parents held her tight. Victoria cried and said she didn't want to hurt anyone again. She said maybe she should stay away from everybody forever. Her mother sat with her and told her she couldn't run from life. She reminded her that she had worked too hard to quit. Victoria said it was hard. People stared. People insulted, and they didn't understand. Her mother told her people can talk, but talk doesn't define you. She told her to finish school for herself. Victoria then asked about Bella. How do you deal with someone who wants to destroy you every day? Her mother sighed and said people like Bella will always exist. She told Victoria to mind her business, focus on her future, and refuse to let a bully control her story. The next day, Victoria returned to campus, nervous but determined. She decided she would ignore Bella and focus on her books. But as she entered the library area, Bella spotted her immediately and stood up. Bella shouted and called her an ugly killer. She accused her parents of bribing the police. She called Victoria a monster hiding under the cloth. Victoria felt the sting, but she didn't run. She turned and replied calmly that at least she wasn't like Bella, sleeping around with every handsome boy for attention. Bella's face turned red, and she tried to defend herself, saying she dates who she likes. Victoria told her it was shameful. She said instead of focusing on school, Bella had been in university forever without graduating because she spent more time chasing boys than reading. Bella didn't know what to say. She called Victoria jealous and said Victoria was a nobody. But Victoria shook her head and said she wasn't jealous. She was focused on her future, something Bella should try for once. Bella walked away angry, and Victoria stood there shaking, not because she was afraid, but because she had finally spoken up. It felt good. 1 week later, a very handsome new student arrived, Dennis Okafor. Tall, neat, confident, with a calm smile. The girls on campus couldn't stop talking. Bella saw Dennis and announced to her friends that she must have him. The next day, she walked up to Dennis in the hallway. smiling sweetly, offering to show him around. But Dennis ignored her and kept walking. Bella was shocked, but she quickly covered the embarrassment, saying he was just doing hard guy. She told her friends she would still get him, even if she had to use money to impress him. Bella believed every man had a price. But while Bella was busy chasing Dennis, Dennis was noticing Victoria. He found Victoria intelligent, calm, and respectful. She was kind to people, not proud, and her brain impressed him. He started talking to her during breaks, asking her questions, and sitting with her sometimes. Their friendship grew naturally. Victoria enjoyed Dennis's company, but she still carried fear. She had lost Joshua. She didn't want to lose anyone again. Not everyone liked Dennis spending time with her. Some friends warned him that Victoria was strange, an outsider, that she wasn't the right kind of person. Dennis ignored them. He liked Victoria, and that was all that mattered. Bella soon found out that Dennis was close to Victoria, and jealousy entered her blood like fire. She confronted Victoria, accusing her of using tricks to steal her man. Victoria laughed and asked Bella which man was her man, someone who doesn't even know she exists. Victoria then told her clearly that Dennis was only her friend and she wasn't dating him. Bella hissed that Victoria didn't belong in the school and called her a freak. But Victoria stood her ground. She told Bella she wasn't in school to chase relationships like hers. She said she came to study, unlike Bella, who spends her life doing packaging to impress boys. Bella threatened her and promised she would regret it. Victoria shrugged and said she wasn't afraid. Bella stormed away, frustrated because her bullying was no longer working. That evening, Victoria got home with mixed feelings, proud that she was standing up for herself, but still unsure about her future. She sat with her mother in the kitchen and opened her heart. She said graduation was coming soon. She wanted to look elegant that day. She wanted to wear makeup and, for once, not hide her face. She said she was tired of the cloth. She wanted to feel normal. Her mother listened carefully and reminded her about the prophecy they received years ago. Victoria's heart sank as she remembered. The prophet had said the curse would only break when Victoria found someone who truly loved her, someone who would see her face and still remain alive, because love would protect the person. Victoria cried and said, what if nobody ever loves her? What if she stays alone forever? Her mother hugged her tightly and told her not to rush life. The right person would come at the right time. Until then, she should focus on her future. Victoria then mentioned Dennis. She said he was kind and they were friends, but she couldn't let him get too close because of the curse. Her mother smiled softly and said she was glad Victoria had a friend. She reminded her that friendship can be a blessing, even without romance, and she told Victoria not to let Bella's obsession disturb her peace. 2 weeks before graduation, Bella tried one last time to disgrace Victoria publicly. She met Victoria near the cafeteria and shouted loudly, drawing attention. She mocked Victoria, asking if she would still wear a face cover during graduation, or if the whole school would faint from horror when they finally saw her face. Victoria closed her book, stood up calmly, and faced Bella. Victoria smiled and said, thank God graduation had finally come, because after all these years, Bella was finally leaving the school. She said she was starting to think Bella planned to live there forever. Students laughed. Victoria continued and said maybe Bella had slept with most of the lecturers just to reach graduation, because it was the only explanation for how someone like her finally made it after staying in school since dinosaurs. The crowd erupted. Victoria then added that Bella shouldn't pretend to be rich, because everybody knew her parents were struggling in a small village while she was in Lagos doing fake big girl. She said everybody also knew Bella had been sleeping with sugar daddies to fund her lifestyle, bullying others because of insecurity. Bella screamed and cried that Victoria didn't know what she was talking about. But Victoria shrugged and said if she was nothing, then Bella was worse, jealous, bitter, and confused. Bella couldn't take it. She ran off in humiliation, and some of her friends even distanced themselves from her to avoid disgrace. Later, Bella cornered Dennis near the cafeteria and tried to persuade him again. She told him to stop wasting time with Victoria and said they could be the hottest couple. Dennis looked tired and embarrassed for her. He told her to stop disgracing herself. He said he didn't like her and never would. He told her she chases boys, causes drama, and thinks she's better than everybody. He called it pathetic. Bella stood frozen. For once, she had no comeback. That same evening, Dennis found Victoria under a tree, the quiet spot she loved on campus. He sat beside her gently and told her he had something to say. Victoria looked confused. Dennis then said the words that changed everything. He told her he loved her. He said he didn't care about her face cover or what people said. He said she was kind, smart, and different. He said he didn't need to see her face to know she was special. Victoria's heart raced. She asked, what if she were ugly? What if what was under the cover was something he couldn't handle? Dennis replied that he didn't care. He said she was enough for him, no matter what. That weekend, Dennis invited Victoria to his apartment. Victoria hesitated, but she agreed. They talked for hours, laughed, shared stories, and grew closer. Dennis kissed her gently, and for the first time, Victoria felt truly cared for. But then, in that moment, Dennis's hand brushed the cloth and it slipped. Victoria gasped in terror and covered her face with both hands, shaking. She cried, "Not again." She begged him to step back. She said he would die. Dennis didn't move. He didn't flinch. He simply watched her with calm eyes and said nothing was happening. Victoria slowly lowered her hands, tears still falling. She looked at Dennis fully, expecting him to collapse, but Dennis was still alive. Dennis smiled and told her he loved her. He said maybe love was the reason the curse couldn't touch him. Victoria cried harder, but this time it was not fear, it was joy. She hugged him tightly, shaking as if she couldn't believe her own life. That night, Victoria ran home and told her mother everything. She said Dennis saw her face and nothing happened. She said he loved her and she believed the curse had finally broken. Her mother cried and hugged her. She thanked God and said they had waited for this day for so long. She told Victoria she was finally free. The next morning, Victoria made a bold decision. For the first time in her life, she stepped onto campus without a face cover. Heads turned. People stopped walking. Students stared in shock, not because they were scared, but because Victoria was stunning. People whispered that she was beautiful. Some even clapped. Bella came out of the cafeteria and froze when she saw Victoria. Her mouth opened. She couldn't speak for a moment. She finally asked if this was what Victoria had been hiding. Victoria smiled calmly and said, "Yes, this is me." She told Bella that next time she should think twice before judging someone she doesn't know. Students clapped and cheered for Victoria, and in that moment, Victoria didn't just feel beautiful, she felt free. Free from the curse, free from bullying, free from fear, free to live as herself. And that's the real lesson. You don't win because you are perfect. You win when you stop allowing shame, gossip, and wicked people to control your story.